Hey, get inspired, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Life Inspired. We're so glad that you tune in every Monday night to watch these great God stories. Just God's doing crazy stuff in our world, turning people's lives around. And you can watch these shows on our YouTube channel or our Facebook page, and also on our station that is our website that is lifeinspiredshow.com. So look for lifeinspiredshow.com, and you can share it that way if you're sharing it with somebody that does not have YouTube or doesn't have Facebook. So and if you would also please subscribe to our YouTube channel and like our Facebook page, that'll help us get some more exposure for these great stories that are talking about God. But if you've never tuned in before, we're going to ask 3 questions. What was life like before some major turning point in your life? What was the turning point? And then how is life inspired now that you're walking this new thing that God's got you doing, and how do you stay connected? So our guest today, I'm so excited to introduce to you Mr. Seth Becker, son of my very dear friend Kim. Thanks for being with us.
Of course.
So glad to have you.
Enjoy it.
Yeah. So I have so many questions I want to ask you that are more than the regulars, but
fire away.
But let's start with just like, so life was going along. I think I know what turning point you're going to talk about.
Yeah.
So
probably.
So what was life like before?
So it was pretty good. I felt like a average just kid growing up, just play, sleep, eat, school, homework sometimes if I really wanted to do it.
2 great parents, love you a lot.
Exactly. I love them. They loved me a lot. And yeah, it was really good. My dad, there was some struggles with that though, because he was in and out of the hospital. But at that point for me, that was just regular, because I just learned how to do homework and work and stuff like that in the hospital with him. So that way I could be with him and get my stuff done.
Right.
So that was just my regular life.
Yeah, and then what happened to Dad?
And then, was it almost 3 years ago in June, he hit like this this wall, and everything just started to fail. His kidneys started to fail, his liver started failing, and they had to take him down to India in a helicopter.
Wow.
And we were down there for a really long time, and he just kept getting worse and worse, and finally they just said it's either going to be this for the rest of his life, or we just let him go so that way he's at peace. And I'm not sure if you've heard about this part either, but it was 2 days after my birthday that he died. Was the other hard part. So that was kind of hard for me too, because now that every single time that my birthday comes around, I keep thinking like, oh yeah, he's not here. And it's just that kind of thing. But yeah, I guess the hardest part of that was just like waiting in the waiting room, just hoping that every day that just a miracle would happen. So that way we would just have to forget about this, and that was the only hard part that we'd have to do.
And so now Dad's gone, and your life is turned upside down. You have a great mom who loves you a lot.
Yes.
Who also had a little cancer scare last fall.
She did.
So so tell me about how did that, like, your mom says you have a relationship with God. What does that look like to you?
Oh, that's a little bit of a complicated relationship that I had with him. So it was pretty good before everything happened. And then as soon as everything happened, it almost felt like it just cut off, or it just shut down.
Because you're mad at God that he took your dad?
Yes. And I was very frustrated. And it wasn't like really like mad, like I'm yelling at you. It was frustrated to the point where I was giving him the silent treatment.
And so you were in like, what, 8th grade when Dad died?
It was my transition year from 8th grade to freshman year.
Got it.
Not only was I having to deal with going to a new school with new people, but then I had to deal with this too, trying to fit in.
Right.
And I guess that was just a really hard part too, because I had a couple friends, and I was just in shock like the whole time that this happened. And when the funeral came around, I had 2 best friends, and they saw it as him as a father as well. And I had to call them when in the hospital when I was with him and tell them that he was not coming back. And they had to pass their phone to their parents because they couldn't even say anything.
Yeah.
And when they went to the funeral, I was there for them, trying to help them out. But it was just that point of like, why are you doing this, God? Like he was such a nice guy. He was so nice that at his funeral, it was a 2-hour waiting line.
Wow.
To go just see him and say, thanks for doing this, thanks for doing that, I'm sorry for your loss to my mom. And it was just that kind of stuff. And it was just crazy to think that someone that loved and that loving of a person had to go out in such a bad and torturous way, I guess is the best way to
and
put
so
it.
early.
Exactly.
So young, right.
So.
Yeah. So how do you stay connected? I mean, you obviously started praying again.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like?
So I really started again when one of my friends invited me to a youth group, and it's called Antioch.
Okay.
And he dragged me onto this retreat, and it was a spring retreat that we do, and they do a spring and a fall one. And now I'm actually part of that retreat. I'm actually on like the crew that helps put it together.
Oh, cool.
But I went on that retreat, and I was just like, okay, yeah, sure, it's gonna help me, and da 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 da, and I just didn't really believe it. Well, something really powerful happens Saturday night. So you're there a whole weekend. So you're there from Friday night to Sunday in the afternoon. And Saturday night, you sit in the church, and they reenact Jesus' crucifixion in the church.
Wow.
So you see a guy with a crown of thorns and a white robe holding a cross going right down the middle aisle, and he falls 3 times, and then he's nailed to the cross and stuff like that. And that was just like really powerful, just like sitting there as like a freshman and just stricken by all this grief and stuff that I had faced and all this trouble and stuff, and just seeing that he had done something greater and gone through more and stuff like that, that made me really realize that I just need to I need to rest everything that I have in my heart onto him, so that way he can help me.
Yeah.
So that was my real transition point with God and everything. So that was really cool. And then I was able to actually give a talk a while back for that, and I told this whole story, and apparently it was really strong for some people, because I went back into our hangout place for the crew, and I had like 5 people just bawling and coming to me and like hugging me and just saying like, I never knew. And one guy, I'll never forget him, he's one of my best friends in high school, but he said, "You are a gift from God." And I just for a second I was like, no way, like there's no way that I'm that powerful. But then as soon as 3 other people were like telling me the same thing, they were like, I was like, maybe that's why I needed to have this happen to me, so that way I can show people that you can be strong and that you can survive this. It's not something that you just roll over and just keel over from.
Right.
So
a lot of kids your age, you know, maybe their parents don't love each other, and not that they don't love their kids, because they do.
Yeah.
But because this is not right, it's harder for them to love on you.
Yeah.
And so you've got friends at school that are going through that, and that's really hard. You've got you know, other kinds of stuff that other kids go through. So it doesn't make yours any easier.
Yeah.
You know, now Mom and you've got, I mean, you're looking at college, and Dad's not there to help you look at college. And, you know, so it's always going to be hard. You're always going to miss him. You're always going to miss him. But now you've got this relationship with God, and he gets you through it, and he's using you. That's just crazy. Can I ask you some Hello Gorgeous stuff?
Go ahead.
Okay, so Mom runs Hello Gorgeous, which was your dad's idea.
Yes.
So this is what I know, and you can correct me when I'm wrong.
Okay.
So I know that your dad loved the name, and when your mom was going to have her own salon, he wanted to call the salon Hello Gorgeous, and your mom said, yeah, no, that's crazy.
Yeah, she said that's the stupidest idea I've ever heard.
And then you guys were in Indy, I think, because of some health stuff for your dad, and something about your mom wanted to like have this, I call it a ministry, where she would bless these women and give these women makeovers.
Yeah, so the transition that made her she said that she felt empty. And the reason was that, was because she went from a kind of like a smaller salon, and then she grew it by like 3 times the size and moved to a different building. And she said that she still felt empty. And then just one day she was just thinking about it, and then she just had this idea of, we need to help women with cancer because they don't have anybody to help them. And then my dad was listening to it and listening to it.
Not interested.
Oh, well, that was the funny thing. He was very interested. And then all of a sudden she said, and it's all going to be free. And that's
when he wasn't interested.
That's when he turned pale, because he was just like, how are we going to do this? And she said, I have no idea. And her story goes that they were driving with me, and I was maybe like 4 or 5 at the time.
Right.
And they wanted us to go to like a play area in like a McDonald's, I guess. and to stretch my legs because I had been sleeping this whole time. And as they were walking, my mom stopped my dad and said, "This is what needs to be called Hello Gorgeous."
Right.
And then that's when my dad was like, and he was still iffy about the whole thing, but he supported her, and later he realized that he loved the idea.
Well,
So-
and then I also hear tell, and this is why I wanted to talk about you. I
Okay.
also hear tell, they're like, well, where are we going to get the money for it? And you said, I have $1, Mommy and Daddy.
Yes.
Here's $1.
Yes.
And
so
you gave the first $1 to start Hello Gorgeous.
I was the first person to give $1, which my mom will never let that down that I, did
love
that.
that story.
But yeah, I was, maybe like, I think that was when I was 4 when that happened.
Right.
But I was just so young, and yet I did that. I have no recollection.
Because
of doing
God
that.
used you.
So,
God just used you to get them going on this mission. Yeah.
Probably.
So now you're like almost finished your junior year. You're like more than halfway through your junior year.
Yes.
And
Yes,
you're
I
starting
am.
to look at colleges. What's the future look like for Seth Becker?
So I do tennis and bowling
Oh,
in
that's
high
right.
school right now.
Yeah.
And I lost my whole tennis season this year because I broke my foot at work.
Oh, no.
Workers' comp case at 17. Never thought that would happen. But funny thing is, I work at Chick-fil-A, so I have no idea how
Oh, my
how I broke my foot with that. But I lost my whole tennis season, and I jumped into bowling. And the first couple practices, I was bowling in a boot. I had to do a one-step because I was just trying to get some practice in. And our season turned out really well. Not as great as we hoped, but it turned out very well. We went 10-0 in the season, and we were conference champions.
Wow.
We were sectional runner-ups, and then we made it to regionals. And that was really cool. And a friend of mine who's a senior at Marion, he signed with Bethel. And he was the
Wow.
first Marion bowler to sign with another bowling college.
Wow.
And that was just like a really big thing. And I guess for me, that's what I started looking into, was seeing like if I could get into bowling in college and stuff like that, and if I could get scholarships and everything, because I really enjoy bowling and I feel like I'm pretty competitive with it.
Very cool.
So, and then for college, the academic surface, I'm probably going to go for like a degree in business.
Okay.
And I was thinking maybe a degree in business and a minor in marketing, or vice versa. So that way I could help with Hello Gorgeous. And if not, I could do a lot of other things because there's
sure.
such a wide variety for those degrees.
Right.
So
Great. That's exciting. All right. So I have
yeah.
people that I need to hook you up with for
Okay.
bowling.
Okay. Sounds good.
I know a very dear friend of mine that sells insurance that was a bowling place manager for years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he's quite into it. And then I have a very dear friend whose husband was quite the big bowler.
Oh, wow.
So yeah.
That's
So I got some
awesome.
people I'll hook you up with. I'll tell your
Awesome.
mom.
That
I'll
would
get
be
you to
awesome.
have coffee with these guys. So anyway, thank you for being here.
Of course.
So thank you guys so much for watching every week. We just love having you here. And I know that Seth would have coffee, or I don't know if Seth drinks coffee, but he would meet with you.
Yeah.
If you, if you want to even just like message him, we'll figure out a way that you can, because like I figure the people that want to connect with you are going to be high schoolers. So y'all
Yeah.
have different ways to connect than we old people do. But yeah, just let us know and we'll put you in touch with Seth so you can talk to him about, how you stay with God. And I don't know that I could do this, or if you've got, a sick parent, or even if your parents are like going through a divorce or something like that, it's probably feels a little similar to losing your dad. So thanks for sharing. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Very cool. All right. Thanks for watching. You guys have a great week. Bye-bye.